This is verse 29 of the 5th chapter, Gospel of Matthew. Jesus is in the midst of construing for his audience the 7th commandment, which prohibits committing adultery. And of course, what he wants to do is drive home to them that this crime can be committed in many ways, some of them quite subtle. And so he's indicated that if a person fixes his gaze on someone in order to lust for that person, that there's already been the commission of the crime, at least at some subtle level in the heart, and so then he gives rather radical counsel in that connection. So he's indicated if a man looks at a woman to lust after her, then he's committed adultery with her, and he sees that as so serious that he gives this severe and, of course, hyperbolic counsel in that connection. So a means if, with the indicative a postpositive da, but if ho ophthalmos, the eye. So if the eye of you, we get ophthalmology from that, of course, in other words. If the eye su, this is the second person possessive pronoun, the genitive, if the eye of you, then clarifying ho dexios, if the eye of you, the right one. This is an adjective, it means right. The reason it's added there is to indicate usually one would have a primary dependence on one's right eye or one's right hand, that idea. And so that's why it's added here. So if the eye of you, the right one, scandalize, from scandalizo, I scandalize, I offend is the idea. So if it offends, third person singular, present active indicative, if your right eye is causing you to trip up, if it's the source of the difficulty, and then the direct object sa, second person accusative pronoun. If your right eye is causing you to trip up, then exile. This is apparently derived from exiro, or exireo actually, but iro is the underlying verb. This is the aorist active imperative here, second person singular. So exiro would be to pull it out, is the idea, to carry. Of course, iro means to take up or to take away. Exiro would be to pull something out, to dislodge it, to tear it away. That's the way it was generally used. And in the imperative here, we have this form of it. So it's the second person singular. So if your eye is causing you to trip up, then pull it out is the idea. Auton is the pronoun here, referring back to the eye, which is masculine. So pull it. And balle, from ballo, to cast. This is the second person singular aorist active imperative as well. So pull it out and cast it. Apo, preposition, takes the genitive from you. Radical counsel, it's of course the point is you do an inventory in your life, and if you see anything there that is likely to cause you to trip up, to fall into some kind of temptation, then you need to have a rather severe attitude toward that, of getting rid of the thing, whatever it might be. Sumfere, this is from sumfero. Pharaoh means to carry, to bring. The sun prefix adds to it the idea of carry together, and that idiomatically gave rise to the notion of being expedient or profitable to carry something together. So it is better or profitable or expedient, gar, postpositive, for you, the indirect object, and the dative, second person pronoun. You notice we have 3 of these so far, and we're going to have 3 more before we're done. So obviously Jesus is driving home the individual notion here of the care that a person should be applying with respect to these ethical concerns. So it is better for you. Hina takes the subjunctive. So here we have the subjunctive of apolemi, which is in this form apoletai. Third person singular, aorist middle subjunctive. It is better for you in order to perish, or that it perish. Hin, the adjective, means one. Tone melon, of the members. Su, here's the next of those personal pronouns, second person. It is better that one of the members of you, in this case the right eye, of course, but it could be anything, and obviously it seems that Jesus is not thinking so much of literally gouging out your right eye, but having a kind of killer instinct as to anything that may be in your life that may cause stumbling. It's better for that one member to perish and not the negation holon, and not all holoto soma, and all the body. Su, it's another of those. Blethe from balo. This is the passive now, so third person singular, aorist passive, subjunctive, and not that the whole body of you be cast, ace gehenon, into Gehenna. This, of course, was the city dump. It was originally the valley of Hinnom, a place of idolatry. It was turned into the city dump as a kind of form of insult by King Josiah, and it came to refer to the place of constant fire, the case of being utterly rejected, so that it sort of stood metaphorically for hell. The idea of hell was well defined in Jewish thought at this point, but Gehenna sort of stood as the metaphorical name with reference to it. So Jesus imposes a somewhat severe standard here. He doesn't want us to have any kind of compromising attitude if there's anything in one's life which is likely to cause difficulty, a stack of magazines in the back room, anything like that. Make no provision for the flesh. Paul will stay on another occasion. The idea is to get rid of it and do yourself a favor by not allowing those things to hang around and possibly cause a opportunity for stumbling.